Hi, I'm Russell Cunningham from Australian Institute of Self-Development, and today I'd like to look at why EFT doesn't work. Now, many of you will have heard of some of the amazing results with EFT, with stress hormones dropping, with people with physical pain having that just melt away. But it's not always a 1-minute wonder. In fact, very often, especially with chronic issues, it will take quite a bit of persistence. And one of the things that gets in the way is not being specific enough. When I was first introduced to tapping, it was actually thought field therapy, the predecessor of EFT. And at that time, I was still working in a corporate job, and the person who was assisting me said, think about something that has some emotional charge for you. And I know none of you do this, but I said, look, I sometimes procrastinate at my desk. I do everything on my computer except what I need to do to be productive. And she said, well, how do you feel about that? And that's a great question. I said, well, I feel guilty about that. So how big is that guilt out of 10? Another good question. I've gone, okay, that's about an 8 out of 10. So she had me imagining a specific point where I was sitting in front of the computer. So that was very specific. She got me to give the score out of 10 and where I felt it. That was great. And then we began to do some tapping, and after we'd done a few rounds of the tapping, she asked me, well, what's that guilt now out of 10? And I tuned in. I thought, well, it's still an 8 out of 10. There was one question she missed. She didn't say, are you still in front of the computer? Because what had happened is while I was tapping, I'd gone from imagining myself in front of the computer to doing the other procrastinating thing, which I'm sure none of you do, and that was go off to the tea room to have a cup of tea. So probably we'd resolved the guilt that I had in front of the computer. In fact, I noticed my productivity rose after doing that. But because I'd shifted to another aspect, and the woman who was working with me didn't have the skill or experience to ask me if I'd changed scene, it appeared to me that EFT hadn't worked. So remember, when you're doing EFT, make sure you stick with a specific moment in time until you've thoroughly resolved that before you go on to look at other aspects or other events or other times when the same problem occurs. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, and check out the links.